So the first sheet you're going to do today is another 1-point perspective, but this is going to be using 3 shapes. And you're going to want to take these 3 shapes and put them down here in your large, sort of the white box. You do have a horizon line, you do have your vanishing point, and then you're going to be connecting orthogonals as expected. Now this one takes a little bit more thought, so it's really important that you do take the time to notice where these orthogonal lines come from, what happens in the background, and how they interact with something like a curve or an angle. So it is really important that you take the time to look at that, as well as the step-by-step, this being 1, 2, 3, and 4 as complete. Notice if your orthogonals are really light, that helps out a lot later with erasing so that your shapes actually do look three-dimensional, okay? So it is really important that as you are working, I'm going to go ahead and move this up, grab your ruler. You'll notice I have a mechanical pencil that really helps out a lot because it's a lot more accurate in a very thin line. We're going to line this up nice and straight on a horizontal line. Let me make sure that's even. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and put your horizon line. You're then going to make your vanishing point, and then you're going to go ahead and you're going to sketch. Of course, the star will probably be the most difficult. The heart will be probably one of the easier. One of the house will be a little bit easier. So if I create a heart down here, start from the middle, work your way, a little lopsided, but that's okay. I'm going to move it up so you can actually see it. There we go. Your orthogonals are going to connect vanishing point to edge of curve, vanishing point to the center. In this case, my heart is a little, the bump for the other side goes over the center, so I'm going to make it right there at the top of that particular lump of the heart. Okay, so that one's going to get connected. And then finally the outermost section of the heart, which would be in this case this side right over here. Okay, so that all gets connected, and then the other side of this heart would be basically the same curve that you see here from orthogonal to orthogonal will be placed back in here, something like that. Oops, sorry, should be a little bit more curved there. But basically when you see it, you're going to get your dimension, and of course we're going to fix up that curve, make it look nicer. And that's going to be your three-dimensional heart, okay? You can add some shading into there if you want to show some shading, this being the side. You can shade with your pencil, that sort of great stuff. Now when we move on to the house, we're going to move this page over. And the house right now is located on the horizon line. It's a little bit below the horizon line. So you're going to go ahead, you're going to have your normal square, and then you're going to have the top peak of the house. So then you can erase anything that goes through it, just like that, okay? Orthogonals, you're going to connect anything that you would see. Again, if you're looking right here, if this is you staring straight off into the distance, what would I see? Okay, logically, I would see the top roof of the house on this left-hand side and the side of the house on this left-hand side. I wouldn't see over here because that's kind of around the corner. So I'm going to make sure I connect those 3 points over to the vanishing point. Nice and light. Mine might be a little bit darker so that you could see it. So I've connected those. Those are ready to go. And then I'm going to go ahead and make the side of my house. And the side is nothing more than when we were working with cubes. You took this vertical, this nice vertical right here. You slid the ruler straight out from there to give it depth. Remember, this is a perfectly vertical line. So if you start off with this straight line and you slide it straight across, you're sure your end will be nice and straight, which is really, really important, okay? And then from there, you can take the other side of the house and grab this line right here. I'm going to slide this straight out until I get to the corner, and then go ahead and build the top part of my roof, okay? So if I erase, I'm actually going to see that house coming to life, okay? So the last one's going to be the star. The star is going to take a little bit more time because it's got a lot more angles. It does need your attention. I think that's probably the biggest thing, is that you need to make sure that you give it attention. Now, if you draw your regular 5-pointed star, my suggestion is to then erase your interior so that you can not have too many lines sticking out. Okay, I might fix that arm, got a little bit too big. Okay, so I'm going to fix that. I'm going to go ahead and think about what I'm going to see. If this is me looking at that star, I'm going to see anything on this side of the star. I'm not going to see any of those edges. So it's really important that that's kind of thought about and remembered. So I'm going to start connecting these orthogonals. Connect all, making sure that I've got both of these points visible, nicely lined up. You may find if your star is a little bit differently shaped that you might have a few adjustments to make. Just be flexible, think about it logically. I will also have one more from the top point because I will see a tiny sliver of this one. Okay? Notice I'm not even going to go all the way through. Okay? So with that, this side of the star is pretty much done. That's what that would look like. Now over here, I've got to create the edge of the star, the edge of the star, the edge of the star, the edge of the star. So I'm going to continue. Oh, I forgot one. I'm going to go ahead and start making those edges, making this look three-dimensional. So if I take this line right here, this edge of the star, and I pull it straight out, I can go ahead and make that line right there. Now if I connect this dot to the tip, right over here, that would be wrong. We all make mistakes. See, I was figuring through this. So I'm going to go ahead back to the side. I'm going to slide this out until I see this spot come in, and there's the edge. Same thing's going to happen here. I'm going to connect this line with my ruler, find this edge of the star, slide it straight out till this one becomes visible, and that's the one that's going to come in. And then finally, same thing goes here. I'm going to go ahead and line this up with the edge of the star, slide it straight out, pop that one in, and there's the side view of my star. Hopefully you can really sit back and take a look at that and see the dimension being added, especially once we get rid of these orthogonal lines. So this one would be complete. Any extra time if you're working ahead of schedule, or if this was really simple for you, you can actually create some additions onto the little house. If you want to put a door, anything on the front of the square would still appear square. So these would all be squares, nice and even. These, however, would be vertical lines for windows with orthogonal lines, lines that actually show that they vanish towards the distance. So it's really important that you keep that in mind. Like I said, you can add some details on there, but then we have a couple other sheets to get going on. This is roughly your finished one. Hopefully your heart looks a little nicer than mine. That's it. Move on to the next one as soon as you've finished.